So the Wimbledon draw is out and Wimbledon is going to start off next week. So we have got some interesting draw. We hope that Federer and Djokovic should not be in the same half of the draw because it will be difficult for both the players, as well as one side of the draw would be relatively easier for every other player. So it's not to be. So we have Federer and Djokovic in the opposite halves. That means they will be meeting only in the final. And let's look at the draw and the possible route for Djokovic and Federer to win the championship. Now, Nadal is not playing this Wimbledon this year, so it means that both of these players, if they are able to get to the finals, won't have to beat two of the greatest players of all time. And I think that's a big advantage because we know how difficult it is for anyone to beat Federer and Nadal, or Federer and Djokovic, or Nadal and Djokovic back to back to win Grand Slam titles. It has seldom been done, so we know how difficult it is. So let's first look at the route for Djokovic to get to the championship. So the round one, Djokovic is facing a newcomer, Jack Draper. So they have never played each other, obviously, and he's a good upcoming player. So will be interesting to see for the fans. But I think Djokovic should be able to get through that match. Djokovic, meanwhile, has been playing doubles along with a fellow player, and I think he's performing well. So although they had to pull out from the finals, but they did reach the finals of the grass court tournament, and I think he has had some good practice on grass as well, and he doesn't need that much of practice. I think having won the French Open and having played so much tennis in the last few months, I think Djokovic just needs to rest and keep his body intact for the 7 matches that he has to play in Wimbledon, and I think that should be enough for him to get through to the championship match, and then who knows, maybe he'll play Federer. So round two is Kevin Anderson. Now Anderson is a huge server. He has got good height, and I think he has also troubled Djokovic in the past. I think it was Wimbledon 2015 where he took Djokovic to 5 sets. He had actually won the first 2 sets, but then Djokovic came back. And after that, or overall, I can say it's been a one-sided rivalry where Djokovic is leading 9 matches to 2 matches, and he's also leading 3 matches to 0 matches at Wimbledon. Although I mentioned that one of the times Anderson did play a very good match and forced Djokovic to 5 sets at Wimbledon, but I think after that, overall, Djokovic has not lost to Anderson on these grass court surfaces. Then we have another talented player, Fokina, and Djokovic has played only once and he has won it. So it's obvious that Djokovic will have the leading head-to-head record with most of the players, and I think it's against all the players, all the top players. He has got the winning head-to-head record. In round four, it is Gail Monfils. Now we need to see if he Monfils would be able to reach, because he's not specifically a grass court player. He plays well on clay, so it will be interesting to see if he's able to make it to the round four. But if he does, I think again Djokovic has 17-0 advantage. So Monfils has never beaten Djokovic in any ATP tour level match. I think he did beat him in one of the qualifiers when they were pretty young, but I think Djokovic leads overall 17-0. So a huge advantage, and I think Djokovic shouldn't have any problems there. Then we have Rublev. So interestingly, Rublev and Djokovic have not played with each other, but Rublev, we know, is a good player. He has an aggressive forehand, and I think he might cause some trouble to Djokovic because he also likes to rally. He's good of both wings, on the backhand as well as forehand. And I think players like that have troubled Djokovic in the past. We can remember one of the matches, I think it was in 2018 or maybe last year, last year Wimbledon was not played. So I think against Batista Agu, Djokovic had a great match where it looked like the match could go either way. In the third set, it was 1 set all, and then Djokovic came out on top. But I think the players who are solid from the baseline, even on grass, and have a relatively good serve, I think they can trouble Djokovic. But in the end, Djokovic finds a way to win anyway. But it will be an interesting match if Rublev is able to make it through to the quarterfinal. Then, of course, we have the French Open final repeat in the semi-finals of Wimbledon. So Tsitsipas, I think he's a very aggressive player. Although his record on grass is not that good, he has not won that many matches. So that just similar to Wawrinka. Wawrinka is a good player everywhere, but he hasn't won too many matches at Wimbledon either. So the thing is, if Tsitsipas game wise, I think he has got a very good serve. He has got good forehand, backhand, and he's by default an aggressive player. So that will help Tsitsipas if he is able to make it through to the semi-final. Although I'm not sure because he also has a good draw, and it depends on how he is coping with the final loss at the French Open, because that was a huge loss for him, having been ahead 2 sets to love up against Djokovic, and it's just not even a month back. So I think it will be difficult for him to come back into the Wimbledon thinking that he can win and possibly again face Djokovic in the semi-final. But if it happens, it will be an interesting match. Djokovic there also leads 6 matches to 2 against Tsitsipas. Then in the finals, I have put 3 or 4 players because anybody can win. I'm not putting Federer straight up because we know that he's not in form currently. He's coming back after an injury. He has not had that many matches under his belt. So it's hard to say that he will obviously reach the final. So that is why I put all the players who are in contention. So Medvedev, I don't think Medvedev is going to make it to the finals, although he's playing well. There is a warm-up tournament going on. I saw he's rallying well. He's hitting the ball really well. But I think by default he's not that aggressive player. He does, cover the court very well. He is aggressive at times. But then if somebody like, let's say, Query or anyone who has a huge serve like Silic, and if they are playing well, I think they will be able to beat Medvedev at this surface. So, and then we have Berrettini, who has an amazing career, amazing forehand, very aggressive play. He played really well against Djokovic at the French Open, and I think he has also played against Federer at Wimbledon, although Federer won it quite comfortably at Wimbledon against Berrettini. But I think he can also make it through to the final and maybe play these players. And then we have Zverev. We all know Zverev is a good player. He has also beaten Federer at one of the grass warm-up tournaments a few years back. So he knows how to play on grass, and he also is an aggressive player by default. It's just that he needs to take care of his serve because his first serve is very good, but second serve is a little dodgy. So let's see how he copes up with that. And then we have Silic. So Silic has already made it to the finals at Wimbledon. He has faced Federer. He has played well against Federer at the biggest levels. He has also beaten Federer at the US Open. He's a Grand Slam champion. So I think, and he's playing well. So I really think that Silic can be that player in the draw who not a lot of people are looking at, but I think he might be a very interesting and challenging player to beat at this tournament if he plays well, because he has got a lot of experience and this surface really suits his game. So this is the Djokovic's route to the championship, and I think Djokovic should be able to reach the finals comfortably if he is playing the way he played at the French Open, because again, grass court, he loves to play on this surface. He has beaten Federer a lot of times, who is the king of grass. So I think in terms of confidence, he shouldn't be having any trouble in that department. The only thing that he needs to take care of is his body, his health. So he needs to stay fit for all those 7 matches, and if he does that, I think he should make it to the finals at least. Now let's look at Federer's route to the championship. And Federer starts off with playing the left-handed Manarino, and I think Federer has played against him in the past. Sometimes the matches have been close, but Federer leads 6-love, so he hasn't been beaten by Manarino. So I think that should be a good start for Federer to play against a player who hasn't troubled that much, in the past. Then we have Gasquet. So I think Gasquet has played a lot of times against Federer on grass. 2006 Wimbledon comes into mind, 2007 Wimbledon comes into mind, and Federer leads 18 matches to 2. But I think Gasquet has, beaten Federer, I think mostly on clay. So Federer should be comfortable in that match too, because Gasquet is not that much aggressive player. He doesn't have a really big serve, so Federer should be able to keep him off, I think, because Federer is going to struggle against the players who have big serve, because Federer is coming back after an injury, and although he is playing well, I mean, there's no problem with his shots as such, but the main issue is but the main issue is his ability to return from the baseline. So, and also to chase down different balls. So maybe the defense is vulnerable. So if there is an aggressive player who has a very good serve, he can trouble Federer. But Gasquet, I think, should be not be a problem for Federer. Then we have an amazingly talented player, Nori. So they have not played each other. Again, interesting match. And then these matches that you see, Nori, Query, and then Silic or Musetti or Medvedev, I think these matches will be really challenging for Federer because he doesn't have that much match practice. Now, if he was the Federer of 2019 who was playing well, who had good form, I would not be worried. But looking at his current form and the fact that he's coming back after an injury, round 3, round 4, and quarter final will be interesting matches and a little bit challenging for Federer. And it will be interesting to see if he's able to beat all these three guys and make it to the semi-final. And if he's able to make it to the semi-final, that would definitely mean that he has played good tennis throughout the week. And then I'll, definitely back him up in the semi-final against Berrettini or Zverev. And, he should get it to the finals. And of course, in the final, if he faces Djokovic, it will be really tough because of the past record that he has. He has lost so many times at Wimbledon against Djokovic. He has also beaten Djokovic, but then the past few meetings have been really troublesome. Not in terms of the game, of course, the matches have been really close, but the fact that he has not been able to close any of those matches or any of the important tie breaks, I think that really will be a problem for Federer to deal with if he gets to the final. And of course, if he plays Tsitsipas, I still think Federer should be the favorite if he plays Tsitsipas in the final. But let's see. And Federer also, you can see, leads everybody in the head-to-head department apart from Djokovic and Zverev. Interestingly, although they have played just 7 matches, but Zverev is slightly ahead in terms of the head-to-head record against Federer, and then Djokovic leads 27 to 23. So of course Djokovic is the favorite to win the title. Now let's look at some of the key factors. Okay, so before that, let's do the semi-finals and finals prediction. So I think Djokovic versus Tsitsipas might be the first semi-final where Djokovic should be able to win it in 4 sets or 3 sets. Then we have Federer, Silic versus Zverev. Now I wanted to put Federer's name, but even I'm, not sure that Federer will be able to make it this far because he has not played that well in the grass court matches before this tournament, and he himself might be doubting his game. But let's see if he plays well for 2 or 3 rounds, then maybe we'll have a better picture. But right now I have put both Federer and Silic versus Zverev in the semi-finals, and also I think Silic or Federer should win it. And I would, say that Djokovic will definitely make it to the finals and will play either against Silic or Federer. And whoever he plays, I would back Djokovic to win in 4 sets and reach his 20th Grand Slam title. So let's look at the key factors now. Now, definitely, there is some extra motivation for Djokovic and Federer as they are both looking for historic victories. Both are chasing records, huge records, and Nadal is not playing. So that is added motivation because they know that if they can play one good match. I mean, I'm not disrespecting any of the other opponents, but let's face it, playing back to back against Federer and Nadal would have been a daunting task for Djokovic. So I think if he has to play only one of them, and if it is Federer who has not been playing that well, who has not got that much of match practice, I think Djokovic will really should relish this opportunity to win his 20th Grand Slam title, not having to face too many difficulties. And obviously there is extra motivation because he is chasing the all-time Grand Slam record. And similarly for Federer as well, because Nadal is not playing and Federer has a golden opportunity. He has sacrificed so much, he has skipped tournaments to be able to play Wimbledon. So I think this should be a very, very good opportunity for Federer to go ahead and win his 21st Grand Slam title. And I think because Federer is targeting Wimbledon only, and this surface suits him best, I think this is a very important tournament for Federer, more so than Djokovic, because Djokovic is just coming back after the victory at French Open. So even if he doesn't win, he'll still have chances to win at the US Open because he plays well there too. So I think for Federer, this is more important tournament than any other player, I would say. And Djokovic is the clear favorite, of course. He, in terms of form, in terms of experience, in terms of his past record at Wimbledon, in terms of all the talk that is going on, he must be really confident going into this tournament. And I think he should be the clear favorite, even against Federer, because he's playing really well at this moment. Now Federer has got a good draw actually. We saw that if he's playing well, he has the capability to get to the finals and meet Djokovic there. And if he is able to do that, he'll have enough match practice within this tournament to play his best tennis in the final. And I think he should hope for that. Now, if Federer or Djokovic do not reach the finals, this could be also a golden opportunity for them to use their vast experience. Now, what I mean by this point is, if any of either of these players do not reach the finals, then for the other player who does reach the finals, it should be relatively easier to win this tournament. We have seen some of the tournaments, Grand Slams, where Nadal or Federer or Djokovic have won those Grand Slams without facing the other two players involved in the big three. So let's say if Federer does not make it to the finals, then Djokovic will not face either Federer, and also he'll not face Nadal to win the tournament. That sounds easier, although it's not easier, but definitely easier as compared to playing Federer or Nadal to get to a Grand Slam title. And similarly for Federer, if somehow Djokovic does not make it to the finals and Federer does make it to the finals, I think this will be a golden opportunity for him to win the tournament as well. Now, what's on the line? So Federer is looking for his 21st Grand Slam title to take the lead in the overall count of the Grand Slams. Right now, he's tied with Nadal at 20, so this is the opportunity for him to play really well and get his 21st Grand Slam title. Djokovic will also be looking for his 20th Grand Slam title and also his 6th Wimbledon title. Now that will be again a very, very good achievement for him to get the lead there as well. Now Federer has got more Wimbledon titles, but I think some of the other greats in tennis like Sampras, so I think he will be getting into that similar category, Djokovic, with this victory if he's able to win the match. And if we talk about the rankings, if Medvedev does win this title somehow and Djokovic is not able to make it to the finals, then Medvedev might become the world number one. So that's a lot of motivation for Medvedev, and we know that even though his game doesn't suit this surface, or his playing style is a bit different, but he definitely doesn't lack motivation, and we have seen it. He has beaten Nadal, he has beaten all the top guys, he has beaten Djokovic as well. So if he plays well, if he somehow finds a way to get into the finals, I think, and if somehow Djokovic is not playing that well, or if he doesn't get into the finals, then Medvedev will definitely have a great chance to become the world number one player in the coming weeks. And then the last point is that Tsitsipas, Zverev will be trying to get to their first Grand Slam title. Now they have been trying really hard. They have been knocking the door continuously. Tsitsipas has been performing really well. So if he plays well and gets to the semi-final or final, they will be really hard to beat, because these guys, if they are beaten in the first 3 or 4 rounds, they are beaten in like straight sets or four sets. But if they are able to make it to the fourth round or quarterfinals, then they are really difficult to beat, because then they get the confidence. And I think that is what is lacking in these players, other than the game, because the game is already very good, although they have some things to improve, but I think their overall game is really good, and they are young, so they have great stamina as well. The only thing that is lacking is might be the confidence, especially on Wimbledon at the grass court, because both these players haven't performed that well at Wimbledon specifically. So I think if they can reach fourth round or the quarters, then they will get a lot of confidence, and they might also try to win this title and get their first Grand Slam. So the Wimbledon is going to start next week, and we'll bring more analysis. But I think it should be an interesting tournament. If Federer and Djokovic are able to reach the finals, then that would be a really interesting match with a lot on the line, and it will be really a great match to see, because what is at stake is too huge, to ignore. So let's see what happens, and thanks for watching.